COVID-19 pandemic. In light of that declaration and consistent with various executive orders entered by the governor and the recent amendments made to the Open Meetings Act and Public Act 101-640, I find it is not practical or prudent to conduct an in-person meeting. This open regular meeting of the President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Hinsdale is therefore being conducted remotely. Public Act 101-640 allows public bodies to meet remotely during public health disasters, so long as the public is able to monitor the meeting and certain other conditions are met. Public comment is permitted during the citizens petition portion of the meeting. When I get to those portions of the meeting, I will ask persons wishing to make public comment to identify themselves. If anybody wishing to speak has difficulty connecting to the meeting with Zoom, please call Assistant Village Manager Brad Bloom at 630-789-7007. So Chris, you want to do a roll call?
Yes, sir. Trustee Posuma?
Here.
Trustee Banky?
Here.
Trustee Stifler?
Here.
Trustee Burns?
Here.
President Colley?
Here.
President Colley, can I make a quick announcement?
Sure.
We had a problem with the Zoom link for tonight's meeting. It wasn't working. We had to change it. So if there's anyone who's trying to get into this meeting, who's watching it live streamed or on channel 6, you can log into this meeting using code 821-6442-3187. Let me repeat that, 821-6442-3187. Password 019848. The password is 019848. Thank you.
So where is the Zoom link published, Brad? Is it?
We actually published the new link when it wasn't working on the website. It's on the first page of the website and it's also on the agendas. But
Okay.
the agenda website link does not have the correct Zoom link for some reason, and I still don't know why.
Yeah.
The Zoom link did not work for this meeting. So we had
Right. Does that cause any problems with respect to having a public meeting if the Zoom link is not the one that residents have?
Well, the meeting is still going out on channel 6 and on live stream and on YouTube. So people will be able to watch the meeting. We'll have a recorded copy of the meeting posted on the website. Someone could, I guess, make a claim that we didn't give them notice of the public meeting and they didn't have the opportunity to participate because the link they got is not working. But we're making the adjustments as we can, trying to do the best we could. But I suppose that I would defer to Kathleen if she believed it could result in some challenge.
What do you think, Kathleen? Do we have a problem?
You're muted.
You're on mute.
Is the phone number the same?
Phone number to call in is the same.
That's that number is on the agenda. I don't see why there would be an issue.
Okay.
Because,
So if somebody wanted to call in, even though they have right Zoom, they could just dial into this meeting.
is that correct, Brad? The
Yes.
number is the same?
The
And
number-
then, right, and we've
The
updated.
ID is different though, right? I mean,
The
Pardon
link,
me?
the link number has changed. If someone didn't check the website, and didn't, look on channel 6 or didn't look at the live stream, they could say they weren't able to access the meeting.
But on the agenda itself, it says if you're experiencing technical difficulties to contact Brad Bloom, correct?
Yeah, so someone could call me if they couldn't get in, yes.
Right, but on the agenda, there is a phone number. Would that phone number dial into this meeting even if you don't have a Zoom link?
Not without the meeting code number, but I think the reason that we put my phone number on there is in case someone has a problem, they could contact me. So if someone wasn't able to log on the link and they had the agenda, I'm assuming I would get that phone call and I could give them this code number and they could get into the meeting.
Okay,
So they'd be able to make a comment should they so desire.
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that, but I don't know what we do about it. I guess we just press ahead, and if something comes up, we'll certainly, if a resident comes up at the next meeting and said, I tried to call in on this meeting and I couldn't, we would certainly have to take that into account, I think. So I think we just press ahead and just see see what happens. So the first item up is approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 16th, 2021.
Move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 16, 2021.
Second.
Any suggested changes?
I don't.
Okay, roll call vote.
Trustee Postuma,
Aye.
trustee Banky,
Aye.
trustee Stifler,
Aye.
trustee Burns.
Aye.
Okay, then
Thank you.
We have a series of closed session minutes for April 6, 2020, July 16th, 2020, November 3, 2020, November 17, 2020, January 5, 2021, and February 2, 2021. Can I have a motion with respect to those closed session minutes?
Motion to approve closed session minutes of April 6, 2020, July 16, 2020, November 3rd, 2020, November 17, 2020, January 5, 2021, and February 2nd, 2021.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Trustee Postuma,
Aye.
trustee Banky.
Aye.
Trustee Stifler,
Aye.
trustee Burns.
Aye.
Thank you.
So that brings us to President's comments. I just have a couple comments tonight. One is you may have noticed the work along Chicago Avenue from Garfield west throughout Hinsdale. That's ComEd constructing a new supply line for the transformer station at Simons Drive and North Park Street to West Vine Street. This will impact the availability of the street for parking on Chicago Avenue. So all the parking spaces along at least one side of Chicago Avenue won't be usable for a while. ComEd has requested extended work hours to expedite the project, and the trustees will be discussing this later today. There's not really a lot of residences around there, and I think they're asking to start at 7 o'clock on weekdays rather than at 8. ComEd is completing its work in advance of the village's water main improvement and paving projects for Chicago Avenue, which are scheduled later this spring. So we want to get that ComEd work out of the way so we can start laying water main. As to the vaccines, the vaccine supply is not yet meeting the demand in Hinsdale. According to the Illinois Department of Health, vaccine supplies remain low, but they are expected to increase in the next several weeks. And many of the officials in Illinois are working to increase the supply. As I'm sure you know, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was recently approved, and it only requires one injection, and it will be distributed in upcoming weeks. The 7-day positivity rate in Region 8, which is the region Hinsdale is in, has dropped, and I think it's dropped significantly since I've been giving these reports. It's now 3.5%. My recollection at one point it was up to like 13%. So we've really come down. DuPage rolling positivity rate is 3.4%. So that is a big drop. We're now allowed to have gatherings of 50 or more people. For indoor dining is permitted at restaurants subject to the Illinois Department of Health limitations. Currently, there's one person in the hospital at Hinsdale Hospital under investigation for COVID. Investigation for COVID, and 3 people were in the hospital with COVID. The DuPage County website is reporting 1,181 cases in Hinsdale, which is an increase of 28 cases from the last report. 25 of those cases come from the Hinsdale community, and only 3 cases come from Manor Care. And it looks like the Manor Care problem is dropping as a result of the fact that most of the residents there have been vaccinated twice. There are 52 deaths reported in DuPage County and Hinsdale, with 49 of those deaths coming from the Manor Care facility. As of March 1, Cook County website reports 159 COVID cases in the Hinsdale portion of Cook County, with no new cases reported in the last week. In total, there have been 8 deaths in the Hinsdale portion of Cook County, and that has remained unchanged since January. Citizens petition. Anybody on the phone wishing to speak to any matter on the agenda?
Yeah, it's Mark Markison.
Mark? Go ahead, Mark.
The matter's not on the agenda, but I think.
Okay, I'm sorry, on or off the agenda, it doesn't really matter. If
Okay.
you got something to say, this is a good time to say it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think our packet's been distributed to the Board of Trustees for the Village of Hinsdale. I'm going to make a few comments regarding what we're asking for. And if you have any questions, I'll take them at the end. It'll take approximately 5 minutes, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. We appreciate the opportunity to be invited to the meeting. Tom, we appreciate the ability to be able to speak our minds about, what we feel is a significant event that's been happening over the past year to two. We're longtime residents of Hinsdale, 25 years plus for the group that we represent. We just want to discuss the ribbon policy. And so over the last 12 months and countless emails, we've been working with city officials to establish a policy that really represents two main guidelines, in our opinion. First, the non-intrusive display location for the ribbons, and two, accountability for the names of those who have deceased and accountable information forms that are filled out regarding who is putting up these ribbons and who is going to take them down. We feel these two guidelines are extremely important. And just to give some background to these, initial two brief statements, when we talk about a non-intrusive display location, the vast majority of residents, in our opinion, do not want ribbons in front of their house. The ribbons on the website don't look like the ribbons that have been displayed on Parkway trees. The Parkway tree display has been made up mostly of garbage bags and low-quality plastics that the residents of Hinsdale don't want to see in front of their house, in front of their neighbor's house when they walk out the front door, in front of their block, or along the streets of Hinsdale. And out of the 8 displays in the last 12 months, the city officials could not identify 6 of these displays, who deceased, who put them up, and who were going to take them down. Residents view these, we the residents view these ribbons as an advertisement. And most have no idea who they are for, just that it symbolizes the death of someone. If you don't know who they're for, and if the city officials can't identify who died, then the purpose of the display is simply a nuisance. If the village officials could identify them, the majority of residents have no idea who they are and have no affiliation with their family to begin with. We should not be made to look at these displays in front of our houses or our neighbors' houses. Our recommendation for a display for those who want to memorialize those who have died, who are Hinsdale residents, is in front of a memorial hall, which we think is most fitting for those citizens who have died in the past and have been memorialized, and then those who have died in the present. The second note is accountability. Given the city does not require any forms to be filled out with a new policy regarding who is deceased or whose residents have died, it should be mandatory that a form be filled out telling us what the deceased names are, the emails of those who put up the ribbons, the color of the ribbons that are displayed. The ribbons policy should have a quality standard of care, we think, for the specific types of ribbons that can be displayed regarding quality and size. They've been all over the board, and I'm sure you've seen them. In addition, it should be the policy of the city that the Public Works Department maintains this guideline, that after 15 days, and after trying to email and call the people who are responsible, they have to take them down. It's our view that the displays have become out of hand, lending displays to multiple city blocks, miles in the city. It's become a real burden to those who have to take them down, the Public Works Department. In addition, lately, the city officials have encountered the fact that the city workers cannot accurately identify public trees from private trees. In a recent incident, the city workers removed ribbons from a woman's property, only to find out that it had no city tree property and had to replace the ribbon. What a waste of taxpayer money. And who is responsible? We believe that it's in the best interest of the village to establish a location that's compact, easily accessible for residents of all ages, both young people who have deceased, but also older residents who simply don't have the means to put them up on blocks and miles of property around Hinsdale. Memorial Hall, in our opinion, is the perfect place for this display. To recap, we asked the trustees to amend the ribbon policy in 2 ways. 1, Memorial Hall is designated as the only location for ribbon displayed in the village to let every resident have the ability to display publicly their loved one's memorial in a compact manner. Only Hinsdale residents and those who have attended the children of the public schools can display ribbons after the appropriate form has been filled out and the village has been accountable for those who are going to take them down in a timely manner. We believe that these amendments to the ribbon policy have real teeth, real accountability, and a display location that is non-intrusive to the public neighborhoods. And it keeps in the village code, I think, that establishes the simple fact that we want to have a beautiful city. You know, we want to protect and enhance the village's attractiveness to its residents and live without unsightly, ribbons in front of our properties. So that's my basic statements. And if there are any questions, I'd like to entertain them.
So as you may know, Mark, we adopted a ribbon policy last session. And I think my view, and I can only speak for myself, is that it's very difficult to police this. I don't know how you would know when somebody puts up a ribbon who the deceased person is for whom the ribbon was put up. I think that could take a lot of resources to monitor that. I don't think we can enforce a policy that only have ribbons put up around Memorial Hall, and I'm not sure that that would be a good idea, even if we could. So I think that the best way to handle this, because we have experienced, that people are very, very sensitive about these ribbons when they put them up, about keeping them up. Sometimes they want them up for a certain amount of time. Usually there's a lot of emotion involved because somebody has died, and this is part of their way of memorializing the person's died. So I think that we're trying, as trustees, we're trying to walk the path between allowing people to mourn deceased residents the way they see fit and keep our village looking nice, which would mean that we would ask them to take down the ribbons that they put up. If they don't take them down, we would take them down. I think the policy, I see that this policy, Brad, has 14 days. I thought we talked about 30, but maybe we shortened it to 14.
14.
Okay, so the policy now is we're going to, and I think part of this is just, letting people know, and we let the churches know, we put it up on our social media sites and we put it up on our village website, that we expect people who put up ribbons to take them down. And we've really not delivered that message in the past. So first, would like to deliver the message that we expect you to take them down. And I have a lot of confidence that the people of Hinsdale, when they realize that this is a village policy, they'll comply with it. And if they don't, we will make sure that the village staff takes them down. We've talked about that. And if a resident really feels strongly about a ribbon on a tree in front of their house in the parkway, they have the right under this policy to take down that ribbon. But as I said last time, I think anything that is more strict or more codified or more demanding of residents who put up ribbons is only going to cause hard feelings between the village and those mourning the deceased. And I just don't want to do that. I mean, I can see the goal of keeping the village nice, and so we will take them down if they're up too long, but I still view this as a softer approach is the best way. And maybe that at some point we want to do something different, but this is a policy we just adopted, and I'd like to see whether it works before we consider something, that's stricter or more harsh as far as, policing the ribbon policy. I don't know if any trustees have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, Tom, the only thing I would say here is, first of all, Mr. Margison, I share many of your thoughts here. I do think that over time, these ribbons can become unsightly. I think that, it can become a blight on our beautiful village, especially if they're left up for an awful long time. I do believe, however, though, that this community it's a fairly close-knit community, and it's one that's focused around families and families that are raising children here. And I think, as you noted, a lot of this expression of sympathy is coming from the younger generation. And I think it's an important part of the grieving process for them to be able to grieve in the fashions that they're doing with these ribbons. I think that needs to be balanced against, some of the unsightliness that can happen over time. I do think the policy that we put into place last time is a good start here. I do think that this board and our staff needs to follow it quite closely to make sure that they're not up for more than 14 days. I do know that it was originally proposed for 30 days, and it was Trustee Hughes's recommendation that we bring it down to 14. As I've thought about this over the past 2 weeks, I do think that is more than enough time for the morning process, at least in this fashion. So the only thing I wanted to say to you, Mr. Marguson, I agree with many of your points, but I just think it has to be balanced against the viewpoints of many others within the village. So thank you.
Any other trustees want to express their views?
The only thing I would say is, we have this new policy, and I've talked with, I haven't talked with Mr. Marguson directly, but I've talked with some of his associates. And, I think let's try this and see how it works. I'm confident. I think that we can get these down in 14 days or 15 or whatever. It's not a huge thing for Public Works. I mean, I know it's taxpayer expense, but I mean, it's not like they're going to stop, laying the water main at Chicago Avenue. So let's see how this works. And I think with this process, I think the end, everybody's goal will be achieved, that the ribbons will come down in a timely fashion.
Matt, any further thoughts?
Yeah, I guess before we make any further changes to this policy, I think we need to give residents, perhaps who are representing a different point of view, the opportunity to speak. At the last meeting, we just kind of brought it up
Right.
and adopted it. And now we have an opportunity for a person representing, say, one side of the issue.
Right.
If we're going to make further changes, let's give, adequate notice and give people an opportunity to come to the meeting and express how they feel from the other side.
Yeah, after years worth of work and probably 100 emails, we weren't invited to the meeting, nor were we aware that it was going to be instituted as a policy the last meeting.
Yeah.
So having said that, the only thing I would comment on, Tom, is if I see a ribbon on my house, in front of my house, and I call the village and they have no idea who it is because nobody's reported it and nobody's filled out a form and nobody's responsible, how do I know who it's for?
Well, I mean, how would we police that? I mean, people put up ribbons and they don't tell us they're going to put them up, and we have a tough time just doing the work that we have to do. Just shoveling snow and things like that. If we deployed people, what do we want the police department do that? I don't know how we would figure out who put up a ribbon.
Well, I mean, there's a form already on your website that says you want to memorialize. All you'd have to do is say, if you want to put up a ribbon, please fill out the form and email it to the city hall. That's all you have to say.
What if somebody puts up a ribbon and they don't fill out the form, which is highly likely to happen?
Then it's like you said, and I appreciate what you said, and I've told this to Kathleen, it's a process. We start somewhere, but to put up a ribbon and not be responsible, not know who did it and not know what it's for and not know whose death it is, doesn't seem to be any teeth in the guidelines of this policy.
Hi, Mark, it's Kathleen. There is a memorial ribbon tribute page of which you referenced, and it's asking for a ribbon. It's on the website. It's live now. The ribbon color, the data display, and the tribute purpose. And in our many discussions, the issue is the policing of this. We will do the best that we can, but it is very difficult to always know. And that's why last week, Chief King started meeting with the faith leaders. We've reached out to the schools, and we're spreading the word to get this administrative policy out to encourage people, to raise awareness and to encourage people to comply with the policy. We also will have it in the water bills in April, again, to raise awareness of what this policy is.
I appreciate that, Kathleen. And the only thing I'd finish with is your statement about that it's on the policy. It's not on the policy. There's nowhere where it says or ask any resident that puts up a ribbon to actually fill out a form and say who has died, who's putting up the ribbons, and who's responsible to take them down. That is not in the rules and the policy of the guidelines of the ribbon policy.
Okay.
Okay, Tom, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, and if this policy doesn't work, we'll revisit it. And if others come to the village, we can take up things at any time. And, I apologize for you not having known about the last meeting. We've now heard you. If we hear from others and there's a groundswell of people who want to change the policy right away, we'll do that. in the meantime, I think we'll just see how the policy works out. And I think a lot of it is just educating the community about the importance of, if you put up a ribbon, you got to take it down. And so hopefully if we do that, this problem will cure itself. So,
Well, thank you, trustees.
Okay.
I appreciate your time.
thank you. Anybody else on the line for citizens petition?
No one else on the line, President Colley.
Okay. So that takes-
President Colley, I do want to let you know I did contact Lance Molina about our technological problems. And he did say that as long as the live calls can be received, he thinks it's okay given the technological failure. But also so the trustees know, on the main side of the webpage where the calendar is listed, if you click on the meeting for today, you can click on the correct Zoom, the correct Zoom link, the one that's working. I did that while we were talking. So
Right.
the issue is that the agenda, a couple layers deeper into the website, has the wrong information, but I don't know how many people would go there directly.
Yeah,
Okay.
but again, if somebody comes up next meeting and says that you decided something on a consent agenda or on a second read that I now object to, I think we'll listen to that person.
Right. Okay.
So Neil, I guess you're up.
Yes. Okay, yeah, let's turn to item 6A. This is an authorization to exceed $20,000 for snow removal from the parking deck. Our contract with Beverly Companies for snow removal is for removal of up to 45 inches of snow, and right now we're at 42 inches for the season. So if we get 11 more inches, we would go over $20,000 in expenses, and of course would need board approval to fund this. It doesn't appear we're going to have 11 more inches, but who am I to say that?
Yeah.
And here again, this is just an authorization. So, and then it's a first read. So we're not necessarily going to spend this additional money. We're just going to have to see how it goes, but we need the authorization, or we may need the authorization.
Right.
So could that go consent agenda, I think?
I think so. Anybody disagree? Nope, consent agenda.
Okay. All right. So that moves to item 6B. That's to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Metro to renovate and repair the Highlands commuter train station, which has fallen into disrepair. Now, the key phrase in this action is Metro will reimburse the village for up to $300,000 for this repair, which the village staff will direct and manage. And the IGA spells out the terms by which the renovation will be performed. Legal has reviewed this, and I think we're good to go with that.
So if the cost of, so we estimate it's going to cost $250, and Metro's agreed to pay up to $300,000. If it exceeds $300,000, that's on our dime, I take it.
I would have to think so.
Yeah. Okay.
We're in
Okay.
charge of the construction.
What's that?
Yes.
We have control, yeah.
We have control of the construction, right? So there's a cushion of $50,000 between the estimate and what we have from Metro, but I guess there's always a possibility it goes over 300. But that said, I don't see any reason not to do this.
Okay, consent agenda.
I think so.
Okay. All right, that's all for me for a while.
Luke?
Great. Yeah, which brings us to agenda item 6C. And this is a first read and is to approve an ordinance amending section 6-12-3 of the village code to allow for the conversion of a two-way stop sign at the corner of Washington and Maple to a four-way stop sign. At our last board meeting, we had and we have on the consent agenda this evening conversion of a total of 6 uncontrolled intersections. This request has come through as a result of the conversation that we had at our last board meeting. We were able to move this, or the police department was able to move this so quickly as they had already done the studies at this intersection. Specifically, the police department did conduct a request at the location. They did note that the sight lines vary based upon the time of day and the number of vehicles that are parked on the west side of North Washington Street. I note that this is a fairly busy intersection, not only with traffic, but also with pedestrians, as the village library, Eve Assisted Living, and Unitarian Church are all in proximity. Additionally, there have been 2 traffic accidents at this intersection in the past 5 years. As a result of the heavily parked traffic and the desire not to lose parking spaces, it's the recommendation of the department, which is also consistent with the American Association of State Highway Officials, that a 4-way stop sign be installed at Maple and Washington. And with that, I'd open it up for questions from trustees, and Chief King is on the line tonight.
I would just say, look, I think this is a real good change, and I appreciate Chief King and his staff getting on top of this. I think it's a good move. I mean, I know I suggested it, but still, I think it's sorely needed. So good job, though.
Yeah. Others?
I agree with it.
That was me.
Agreed.
Also as an update, I mentioned this at our last meeting. We asked the police department in the all of the village of Hinsdale, we have a total of 11 unobstructed uncontrolled intersections.
What does that mean? Does that mean,
We have no stop sign or no yield sign
you mean in any of the 4?
Correct.
in all 4 quadrants.
Right, because we have some that you have 2-way stops, right?
Correct.
You're not talking about those being uncontrolled. Okay.
No, this is where at any of the 4 entrances into the intersection, there is no stop sign or no yield sign,
Okay.
which is down dramatically over the past several years. But the police department is going to look at those 11 intersections over the next 6 months, and we'll be back up to the board with some recommendations
Okay.
on those remaining. Okay, so consent agenda for the next meeting?
Yep.
Okay, good. With that, it moves us to agenda item 6D. This is a first read and is an ordinance adding a new chapter 19, which is group homes serving persons with disabilities, to Title III for business and license regulations of the village code. Our code currently has no specified procedure to request for reasonable accommodations for people with disabilities under federal law. Our past practice has been to review and, when warranted, grant relief from strict adherence to our code to accommodate individuals or groups with disabilities, as was the case approximately 3 to 4 years ago at the property at southeast corner of Hickory and Lincoln, when we permitted a family to put a patio in their front yard to accommodate a family member with a disability. These requests for reasonable accommodations have been considered by the village in the past on a case-by-case basis. This new ordinance further codifies our process for considering reasonable accommodation requests and creates specific standards for group home living arrangements, whereby special consideration by this board is not required in certain cases. Rather, as a matter of right, group homes for the disabled may operate so long as the applicant is licensed to operate and specific standards are met. These standards pertain to location and intensity of use. Specifically, so long as a group home meets the standards as outlined in the ordinance, which primarily pertain to intensity of use, which is the number of people, and parking regulations, which is tied to the number of people at the home, then this ordinance will grant as a reasonable accommodation the permitted use of group homes in the R5 and R6 zoning districts, and in the O1 and R3 zoning districts, if the O1 and the R3 district abuts the IB, O2, R5, or R6 districts. Furthermore, any individuals or groups shall continue to have the right to apply for a reasonable accommodation for any property within the village at any point in time. So with that, I would open up to questions for trustees. Hearing none, I suggest we put this on the agenda for a second read at the next meeting. And I would note, I believe that this is a step in the right direction.
Yep. This is, I think we have to, given it's a zoning issue, we put it for second read.
Absolutely.
Okay,
That's all I've got, Tom.
great. Who has the accounts payable? Hopefully somebody on the phone.
Yeah, I had the accounts payable, and I found everything to be in order. So I'll move to approve the payment of the accounts payable for the period of February 15th, 2021 through February 26th, 2021 in the aggregate amount of $432,154.90 as set forth on the list provided by the village treasurer, of which a permanent copy is on file with the village clerk.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Trustee Postuma.
Aye.
Trustee Banky.
Aye.
Trustee Stifler,
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye.
Okay, that takes us to consent agenda items 7B through E. Can I have a motion with respect to those items?
I move to-
Move to approve. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. I move to approve consent agenda items 7B through 7E.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Trustee Postuma,
Aye.
Trustee Banky,
Aye.
Trustee Stifler.
Aye. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Trustee Burns.
Aye.
Okay, I guess I'm going to do Jerry's bit. So first we have a approval resolution of the Village of Hinsdale authorizing an amendment to the agreement between Hinsdale and Indoor Platform Tennis Association. Is this the one we want to take off we want to take this off?
Yeah, I thought this was going to be postponed because the loan
We-
agreement hasn't been
Yes,
finalized.
we can just say we're going to carry it over, continue it to
Okay.
next meeting.
Is that both? So it's both it's the and, right? So both of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So the next,
8, 1 and 2.
okay. So that takes us to you, Neil.
Okay, back to me. All right, so hold on a second here. Okay, we're on. Beg your pardon. Okay, so that gives us, puts us at item 8B. This is a second read for the Chicago Avenue Water Main Improvement Project, which will be, this is for laying the water main along Chicago Avenue. We want to award that to John Neary for $1,721,000. This is $515,000 below budget, and Neary has done a lot of good work for us in the past.
My recollection is the only reason we put this on second read is because of the amount of money involved.
I think so, yeah. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay, I'll make a motion to award the contract for construction of the Chicago Avenue Water Main Improvement Project Phase 2 to John Neary Construction Company in the amount not to exceed $1,721,900.
Second.
Call vote.
Trustee Postuma,
Aye.
Trustee Banky,
Aye.
Trustee Stifler.
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye. Okay, and then 8C, along with the previous project, is for construction observation of the water main project for $122,000. We'd award this to HR Green, who's done considerable work for the village in the past. And this observation project is $126,000 below budget.
So this observation project is half of what we budgeted for?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so,
Trustee Burns, I just want to add that both of these projects, since you talked about ComEd, we talked about ComEd doing work later. These are going to start around March 15th. So Chicago Avenue is going to be pretty difficult for the upcoming months, just due to ComEd's work. They're going to finish up and then we're going to come in and start our work.
right. Okay, so I'm going to move to award the contract for engineering services for the construction observation of the Chicago Water Main Improvement Project Phase 2 to HR Green Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $121,980.
Second.
Roll call vote.
I didn't hear a second.
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 Thank you. Trustee Postuma.
Aye.
Trustee Banky.
Aye.
Trustee Stifler.
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Okay, it moves me to item 7D. This is a second read for the 2021 road maintenance project to repair, resurface the streets that we decided not to do in 2020. This project is coming in $106,000 under budget.
Wow.
Any questions on that? I think our second read was just due to the value of this project. All right. I'm going to move to award the contract for construction of the 2021 maintenance project to Builders Paving LLC in the amount not to exceed $652,000.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Trustee Postuma,
Aye.
trustee Banky,
Aye.
trustee Stifler,
Aye.
trustee Burns,
Aye. Okay, and then last but not least is item 8E, and we talked about this a little bit before. This is a request to allow ComEd to start early in their project to construct a new supply line from their transformer at Simmons Drive and North Park Street to South Vine Street. And as was previously mentioned, if you've been down Chicago Avenue in the last couple of days, you'll notice ComEd trucks all over the place. Now, this ComEd project is overlapping with our water main project, and basically ComEd has agreed to get its project out of the way of the water main install. But for them to do that, they've requested that they begin work at that they work from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Now, the normal permitted time is for work starting is 8 a.m. So they want to work from 7 to 5 Monday through Saturday until March 15th. And then from 7 to 5 Monday through Friday from March 15 to mid-May. And now most of the ComEd work is along the portion of Chicago Avenue where there are no resident homes. However, when you do get to Vine, that's where there are a couple of homes there that are going to be affected by this.
Anybody have any thoughts? Any opposition to this?
No.
How long, Neil, would this be going on?
Mid-May.
Okay.
From now to mid-May. And this was a second read. I don't know if we had a first read on this, but I think we have to vote on it because they need
Yeah, I
to,
think it's because of the
timeliness of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll move to or make a resolution authorizing waiver of construction hours, construction noise hour limitations pursuant to section 9-12-2 of the Village Code of the Village of Hinsdale. And this is in conjunction with Commonwealth Edison Supply Line Construction Project WO1608787.
Second.
roll call vote.
trustee Postuma,
Aye.
trustee Banky,
Aye.
trustee Stifler,
Aye.
trustee Burns,
Aye.
Okay. Brad, any updates? Go on, move.
Nothing from the tollway, President Colley.
And I think this fuel fed, there's certain dates they want to have that car show in front of Memorial Building. What were the dates, Kathleen? I have them somewhere.
June 13th and August 15th from 9 to 11.
I don't know how the other trustees feel about it, but I think it's, I'm a car lover. I just love that thing. And
Yeah.
it's a
It's
good
great.
addition.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I love going to it.
One Saturday morning.
My son comes out. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And all
I've
our,
been going, and I've been
all our
going to it. It's
constructions-
actually getting,
go ahead.
I've been going to it and there's actually more and more people at each event.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And I think our construction should be all over by then for the June one. I don't think because they go along Chicago Avenue there in front of the Memorial Building.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that'll work out, but I think it's a good addition.
Yeah.
Any staff reports, Kathleen?
No report.
Okay, anybody on the line, Brad?
Nobody on the line.
Any trustees having anything they want to get off their chest? So the way we left this with Jerry, who's not here, is he was going to let me know if he was available. I haven't heard from him. Have
He's
you?
available now.
Yes.
He's in the process of logging in if we want
Okay.
to make
So-
the motion.
So do we need to, we're gonna use the same line? So do we need to have a motion to close the meeting and reconvene, not to reconvene a regular session?
Yeah.
Somebody have a script for that?
Yeah, I'll move to adjourn the meeting into a closed session under section 5 of the ILCS 120/2C5, purchase or lease of real property, not to reconvene into open session.
Second.
Roll call vote.
trustee Postuma,
Aye.
trustee Banky,
Aye.
trustee Stifler,
Aye.
trustee Burns.
Aye.
Thank you.
Do
Do
we
we
have to,
have-
lo-
Do we have the new information?
No, we're gonna use the same link. We're just gonna stay on and verify that we're not broadcasting anymore.
Okay, so we're not leaving this meeting.
Right.
And